June, happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
That's it, fellas.
Look.
This month is ours. Make sure nobody gets on your nerves this month.
Look, you know what's funny? Last night, Kareem was like, why is there so many Father's Day commercials? I'm just dunking on my girl this whole podcast. And I was like, what you mean? And she was just like, yo, I just felt like I've never seen this many. I'm like, finally, because y'all catching up.
Exactly.
And then she did say something. She was like, she didn't see that many Mother's Day commercials this year. And I was like, for me, I feel like the same. Also, I don't watch a lot of public TV or
a TV that has commercials in it, to be honest.
I don't watch that. But yeah, let's play this clip and then we can have a discussion about mental health because I'm really into this section. Yo, I hate my phone, man. Hold on, y'all.
Where we starting at? I think it's the 25 second mark.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Well, you said 133. You want me to start there? Or you want to start early?
2 or 3.
133 mark, my bad.
Cool. See, Mike threw me off.
You know what I mean? So like my wife's mother's sick. My mother she's not sick, but she's just needs a lot of care because she's blind. I got a brother I got to take care of who's locked up. I got his son who's
Marc
not locked
Lamont
up who I got to care for because he's 13
JBP.
and black and outside. You know what I'm saying? And a good kid, but just a lot of that. I got my own.
Your brother's gonna be locked up for how much longer?
He'll be home in year and a half.
Oh, congrats.
Year and a half.
All right, fans.
He ain't gonna stop taking care of him.
Sigh of relief. I thought that the Reno would be more than I was bargaining for, but
so that conversation came up because Marc Lamont Hill, who's a host on the Joe Budden Podcast, who I told y'all he was gonna win Potter of the Month 3 months in a row, and he did it. And he just smoked it.
Best edition
of all time.
Yeah.
He told the cast that he's depressed, or he fighting depression.
He's fighting depression. Yeah.
And
because they were talking about here's the thing. I don't even think they were talking about Men's Mental Health Month. I just think they end up having the conversation. It is Men's Mental Health Month, so it's like, yo, it's a good place to put these two things together.
Yeah.
And he's talking about him having to work because there's so much pressure on him because so many people are depending on him.
Yeah.
So, he taking care of his nephew. He's taking care of his mom. Obviously, he has to take care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's married.
He is married.
So he has to take care of, his family.
Mm-hmm. And he just found out he has another kid.
Yeah. So, that is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I think sometimes we just look at men and we be like, yo, they just doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, like, no, he's telling you like, yo, I'm under a lot of pressure right now.
And you know what's interesting? I said a couple weeks ago that he's under a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah.
And I think, especially for them, maybe like not Mark, but Ice, and I know Mark has fought this for way longer. People start seeing you do stuff and they start thinking you got money. People be thinking I be making money because I be on these. They think if they see you on the internet, you must got some change. And I'm like, it don't work that way, right?
No, at all.
Marc Lamont Hill, if I see you on Fox, I see you on CNN. Sometimes we mistake being famous for being wealthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is why you get a Bow Wow.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Who's struggling.
Good example.
I feel every time I hear Bow Wow speak, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he's still lost in I'm super famous and I make the same amount of money y'all make.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever that could look like, right?
Yeah.
And so we seeing, if I'm Marc Lamont Hill and I'm seeing that you on Fox, you on CNN, you on TV.
Yeah.
And they even asked him, they said, yo, you do your live show every night. And he's like, I make too much money from it and I got to pay out all this other money that I forced myself. And he's not taking care of his body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got into that. What you do to take care of your mental health?
So that's the first question, right? Like, two questions that I got from this clip. One, when do you say no? If you can say no, right? To everybody that's dependent on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, like, how do you reset your mental health? And like one of the things that I had to start doing is, and I didn't lose weight. I literally was just doing it for my mental health was I would walk every day. Right. Like my stress level got to such a point, man, that I had to go walk. And then what ended up happening is like if I would start getting frustrated during the day, I'd be like, all right, let me go on a walk. I would get dressed, put on my shoes, I'll go on a walk. Like I started at like 2 miles. Actually I started probably like 1.5 miles, then I upped it to 2. And like now I probably walk like 3.5 miles a day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it resets. You're outside in nature, you paying attention to nature, I see the squirrels. I see the birds. I saw a black squirrel one time. Those are super rare. I see the snakes. You know what I'm saying? I see the earthworms that didn't make it back, before the sun came out. And it's just like, it just resets you.
Yeah.
So like that's one of the things that, and I recommend that to like a lot of friends when they like, because I got a lot of guy friends because we're all under pressure. Like we're all between 35 and 50. Mm-hmm. We all have families or families that we have to take care of that we're not in the home, kids, bills, student loans, dating. It's a lot of pressure. Yeah. And I always recommend like, hey, go for a walk.
Yeah.
So
and with me,
and I drink too much. It's the second thing I do for my mental health.
Yeah, me too. Literally, I told Ben and them, I was like, my family is driving me to drink. And it really wasn't. I think Ro just like jumped on my back. He ran and I heard a yell and he just put his knee in the middle of my back. And I'm like, and he just having a ball. So he laughed, he get up and he tried again. I'm like, yo. But anyway, I had to learn to say no. Yeah. It's no other thing than that. That's bro, you could call me for any photo shoot, and if you knew me good enough, it was a yes.
Yeah.
If I knew you didn't have it, it was a yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that hurt a lot, I had a cousin hit me up for a photo shoot, dog, and so this is what made me start saying no. This shit upset me so much that I called my homeboy. He was like, "You gotta start saying no." And cousin hit me up. She was starting a business. Y'all need some photos. So I said, "All right, bet." And I said, "How much you want to pay?" She was like, "Just give me your price." And I said, "Nah, you don't want that." Because I knew she didn't have it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Look, I have an Amazon list. And it has all the equipment I need to like enhance my business." I said, "It's something on there as low as $60 and it's stuff on there as high as a couple $100. I don't need you just get something, whatever you want." And she told me, "Nigga, get the fuck out of here."
What?
And I think after that, so
after that, you had no problem saying no, I bet after that.
Well, so I went because I'm thinking she playing.
Yeah.
So I did the shoot for her and it wasn't a lot. And I remember she said, "Yo, I'm going on vacation after this. And I'll get you when I get back." And I looked at her and I said, You for real? And she said, "Yeah." And I said, one, I haven't spoken to her since then.
Yeah.
And then after that, I hit my homeboy up and I was like, "Bro, I had something literally on there for $40 fucking."
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, like my photo shoot started at a couple $100.
Yeah.
And back then they started at a couple $100. But I was like, "Yo, I'm willing to let you do something on this. And this is going to help my business." And when she thumbed her nose up at me, and it wasn't even that, I think she just didn't take me serious enough. I said, "You know what? It's a no from here on out. Like, I got to learn to say no." My homeboy explained that to me.
Yeah.
He said, if you can't, he said, and he told me something. He said, even if you don't want to tell somebody no, tell them I say, "I'll get back to you."
Yeah.
And he's like, then you could think it over, come up with a plan instead say no. He's like, versus you just say yes to whatever, and then you hoping that they gonna uphold that. So like now, like, first of all, if you are my friend or family and you invite me somewhere, you think I'm about to take pictures, if you ask me, "Can you take pictures at this?"
Yeah.
I will plan another shoot your day.
Yeah.
I will literally make sure that I'm available to the public so that your day get taken and I can hit you up and say, "I can't do it no more." So that's one thing. But I had to learn to say no. And then I had to learn to like, yo, I got to get out of this office.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I come here every day besides Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I be here on Saturday. Sometimes I be here on Sunday. So sometimes it could be 7 days a week in here. But out of this office, like sitting at home, you know what I'm saying? My girl, I have a great girl. See, I'm not kicking you back in. But she'll just be like, "Yo, go out.
Yeah.
Go with these people. Go do that." Also, I had to get I had to get away from people who were just like wanting to stay at a certain level.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of, again, right, going into men's mental health is a lot of times it's hard for people that have close proximity to you to see that you're different, that you're growing, that you're elevating. And then a lot of times that is frustrating, right? Like, people that grew up with, I Am Gavin B probably don't recognize it, like, Gavin's one of the top photographers in the Southeast, right? That's probably hard for them to even, fathom. one of the guys, you grew up with him more than I did, right? But he's like the biggest food influencer, you know, shit in the country right now.
Yeah. Shout out to Bernard.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot of people that still look at him and just be like, oh, that's just Bernard.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not just Bernard anymore.
Absolutely.
This is one of the biggest food influencers
in the country.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so there's a respect that has to be given that a lot of times, you know, and again, right, this goes into mental health. It's just not given. Yeah. And if we don't remove ourselves from that environment, we keep it starts to bother us. Like, damn, like I said the same thing. Why you ain't listening to me? Yeah. Or I told you to do the same thing. Why? And that just starts to weigh on you, right? And then it becomes all this pressure, which goes back to your point. I think a lot of times we just got to say no and start separating ourselves, you know, a little bit.
And I say this before we kick Cardi back in.
I'll kick her back in.
I love Cardi.
Yeah, I like her.
I wish. She's no longer married, so that's not just
it's not. Yeah, she's not married.
I would say this: getting rid of people or letting people go will ease your mind so much more, right?
Yeah.
I laugh at some of the people that I was cool with before this podcast started going up. Mike was around. Well, clearly Mike was around. Mike was here. But me and Mike used to have like pity party conversations about, it's only 20 people listening to this motherfucker. Week after week after week, right?
Yeah.
And some of y'all was cool with us when we was doing that.
Yeah.
Then the numbers started hitting, and then your friends sending you stuff, and then you can't defend it, and then you not saying, and then so it's people it's clients who I no longer talk to. It's friends that I had when we started this podcast who I no longer associate with on any level, right? And sometimes letting those people go and saying like, all right, now God has placed new people around me. Let me embrace this.
Yeah.
And understanding that, hey, new people around you will elevate you. They'll take pressure off of you. Yeah. Right? It was a lot of old people I used to hang out with. I used to do a lot of photo shoots. And let me put it like this. When I do something free for somebody for those hours, that's time that I can't do with people that are paying me. And so, and it becomes tough and it becomes hard. And then your heart ain't in it. And it's just tough there. So allowing that, just getting away. And then so I take those breaks. Me and my girl taking a vacation this summer, which grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and drinking helps. And it shouldn't.
Probably it shouldn't, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.